So this is it. You know, Men in Space. 4 of the 5 of us. We had one friend that couldn't make it tonight. I give him credit. He said he was sick. So I still told him to come. I said to wear a mask, which wouldn't have done anything. Because he's really, just cold sick. Not any other sick. But this is a nice dream of mine. I just want to start out by saying thank you, guys. You're in this room for a reason.
I'm honored. I really am. I thought about that today.
I really, really mean that. Every one of you have come into my life at different points and remain in my life until I leave this earth. So I want to thank you for being here. And Tom, Paul, Christian, Kevin, Men in Space. I felt compelled to say this about Men in Space. It's just the vernacular, Men in Space, because I know I'm going to get a couple of my female girlfriends. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean, Men in Space? Listen, I thought about this all day. Mankind, Men in Space. Women are invited here all the time. The idea of this show is if Christian can't make it because he's mowing the lawn, which he's never done in his whole life.
I have, but I haven't done it recently.
Or Tom is painting the town with his music, or Paul, you'll send somebody in, and hopefully they'll be cool. And we're just going to make this up to 5 people, and we're going to just get it out. And those that are listening, we appreciate it. Maybe you'll find knowledge, solace, or maybe you'll turn us off or on or share us. That's all okay. I think this is going to be the greatest thing for whatever time we do it. So I want to start out by, first of all, thanking Joey Z's. He stopped by with some amazing brick oven pizza.
That was amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. Joey Z, thank you so much for that amazing pizza. I know you have some good news coming to us soon. You have good news every day. Well, whatever that news is, we'll celebrate with you. But every day you put it out there, man. You are the hardest working guy. I'm going to look right into this fucking camera here. You are the hardest working guy I know. Never mind Port Jefferson at 68. I can say your age. Thank you.
He looks great.
Yeah. And guys, a toast to the inaugural Men in Space. We're all drinking the green machine. Yeah. What is this called, guys? This is what is that?
Fresh Hop Ale.
Fresh Hop Ale. I had this earlier at Port Jeff. My friends at Port Jeff Brewery. So we're all about Port Jeff tonight. We're not always going to be about Port Jeff. No. We're going to be island-wide, nationwide, worldwide.
Mm-hmm. And it's delicious.
And this is delicious. And we're going to start this out by just...
You do the IPAs?
I do now.
He does now.
I've been hooked on the IPA for a long time.
I don't do it when I sing because it always messes with my sinuses. I don't know if that ever happens to you. That's why I stick with the wine.
I've been lucky.
Yeah, don't go down that. Yeah, it's too good to let that go. But only a couple of hours ago we got some news, and I would be completely remiss if we didn't honor this musician who was such an influence to me as a guitar player. I don't know what he was like as a person. I wasn't married to him. Valerie Bertinelli was, but that really doesn't matter. Guy always smiled when he played. He had technique beyond belief. Edward Van Halen, rest in peace, passed away.
And what a shock, because
shock.
I think what happens is these guys go into like a very personal stage where you don't even know they're sick, and then they die, right?
That's what happened.
Because a lot of, like, even Tom Petty, it was like a shock. I didn't know. And all of a sudden, the next thing, he was gone.
We go into a hole, right?
I think they might, a personal, like, privacy kind of thing, because I did not know.
I always thought when I was little that if I was going to die, that I had this, like, reoccurring, it wasn't a dream, it was really a thought process I had, that I would drive through New York City streets. This is not such a nice thing, but I would run everybody over, and I don't, I didn't mean that in a mean way, but I just wanted everybody to die with me because I'm such a narcissist or something. But
that's true.
But the idea of just laying back in bed and dying, it might be okay for 92, but not at 65. So Edward Van Halen was 65. I have to talk about my influence, and I have to tell you about how I came about knowing Edward Van Halen. I grew up in Coram. And that album came out, and we do mean an album, and we never heard anything close to the sound. He called it the Brown sound. And as guitar players in my neighborhood, in Coram, we were like, this is untouchable. This is like, oh, my God. We're just going to listen to this.
Yeah.
And then eventually we started, playing and copying it. So tickets became available for Black Sabbath. Didn't even know Van Halen was warming up Black Sabbath. We loved Black Sabbath.
Wow.
We went to the Nassau Coliseum, probably 5 or 6 of us. And the band that came on first was Van Halen. And the electricity was indescribable. Ozzy seems dead now, but he seemed dead that night. And they were great.
Yeah.
But they didn't exist. We knew right then and there they were going to light the world on fire, which they did for the next 40 years, but certainly the next 10 years. It was like nothing I had ever seen or heard. It was incredible. I went to college after that, Oneonta. All my bands played Van Halen. All the clubs played Van Halen. There's a young man next to us. He doesn't know this. I mean, let's just.
I know a little bit about.
No,
Van Halen.
of course you
It's
do,
not my-
because you listen to Jump. I get it.
I as soon as I hear Jump, I jump off that channel. I don't ever want to hear Jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, done. I'm out.
Not great. I have to
No.
admit that. But
I played that when it came out. I sang that song when it came out.
yeah, not easy song, right?
No, it's an odd little ditty.
Yeah.
I did it. But Tom's played with enough guitar players. You play with enough guitar players. You know, Eugene, our mutual friend, he's taking it to the
He's the best.
to the billionth degree. God bless him,
and,
right?
And Jake, his guitar player, looks like him, sounds like him.
Now, this is where I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Because we talk about a guy like Jake. So, did Jake know that he was a clone of Edward Van Halen and then start playing guitar, right? Or did he start playing guitar and someone said, hey, you kind of look like him? Like, where did
The answer to that is Eugene
everything.
molded him.
It's
that,
uncanny.
That is just scary.
It is
The
scary.
whole thing.
Yeah, they are probably. That's what a tribute band is.
It's true.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So they're a national tribute band,
And they're gonna kill it right now.
now. They're gonna kill it.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna kill it.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it's sad to say, but they actually were, I think, reliving what people remember Van Halen as at the height.
Right.
Right.
You know, because they don't do it that way.
So I go to Oneonta. It's all about Van Halen, and my now wife Lisa, who was my girlfriend then, I took her, and I just told you a story about Boston, but I did this again back then. I took her to Syracuse from Oneonta, which wasn't normal. Most college kids didn't do that, but I drove her to Syracuse, and this is about David Lee Roth. He wore those chaps with no back, his bare ass. And just phenomenal. But look, I think Eddie led a hard life. He partied, he drank, and he lived a hard life. And God rest in peace. I mean, he's just. I think he's like one of 3 guitar players that for the 20th century laid a mark on rock and roll guitar. And when I think of Jimi Hendrix, I think of Jimmy Page. And Edward Van Halen. Then we can go off, from there.
yeah, that's a good point.
But I just remember 81, 82, 83, 84, just the hammer on, And some guys had it, and but everybody did it. So that was awesome. Great memories.
So wait a minute. So what was the biggest impact of his life on you?
It was just a cultural thing too. The Valerie Bertinelli thing was.
So what you're saying is a lot of drug use. Is that what you're saying?
No, it was none of that. It was those pants, those red overalls, the style of what
you
he
used
did.
to dress like that?
I did.
Oh man, I would love to get my hands on some of those pictures.
I did. There were rare pictures of me with red pants and white shoes.
There were different times.
There were different times.
Oh
There were different
man,
times.
I was born in 1983. Just so you know.
So exactly.
You know
so
how-
as you're being born,
Yeah, you're rocking out in overalls
in 2 feet of snow.
with teased hair.
I have to say
Exactly.
this because I'm going to a little bit of a non sequitur, but it seemed like the Mandela effect when we talk about the 80s now, because what people remember as cool now, I thought was the lamest shit.
Even back then?
No, well, back then. So like everybody was into so now people put on the spandex and it's like the Poison look.
Yeah.
Is what everyone remembers the 80s being, right? And it's like a mockery. And all this stuff that they Jesse's Girl. I hated Jesse's Girl when it came out. Footloose. Listen, and I
Cut
love
Loose,
those are
Footloose.
great artists. I don't want to take anything. Kenny Loggins is really a phenomenal artist, but they pick the shittiest songs now to say that's what the '80s was. You so fucking got it wrong, man.
Sure.
To me, the '80s was like kind of cool and dark. Depeche Mode, Cure, New Order,
Level 42.
Level 42. But you had Van Halen. And they weren't anything like, they were like rock and roll. They were Led Zeppelin. They were, our Led Zeppelin kind of,
Yeah, that's true. But they always had that hit.
Oh, yeah.
They always had that hit where Led Zeppelin, didn't have the radio hit.
But I'm saying they're cool. The kind of like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, what you wanted a rock star to be. It became very campy later on.
Yeah, right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
It got
and then
uncool.
And then the two singers, of course, that threw people into two different camps. Right. Sammy Hagar,
Right. Yeah.
But him as a guitar player. The one thing that I will say though, that I wish he had done more when the band broke up, and it was numerous times it broke up. I wish he had delved out and done more projects outside of the band. I know he did a few things with Alan Holdsworth, if you remember that, way back.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, only a few select things that he did. He would show up at NAMM and blow people's minds.
Yeah.
But I thought that he was capable of so much more. But I think the band for him was really everything. I mean, his name was the band. So that's the only thing I wish he did, because he had the technical ability to do that. But he kind of stayed in the realm of the band and just kept looking for that lead singer to lead the band. No regrets.
My
but
favorite Van Halen moment was very recent on Jimmy Kimmel when they did the comeback, and David Lee Roth was doing his microphone thing and he hit himself in the face.
Oh, I saw that.
You saw that, and he cut himself really bad, like he broke his nose.
Yeah.
What?
And the band, he had to go run off. And the guy, say whatever you want about David Lee Roth, that was the mark of a true professional. He was amazing. He went off. He took care of his nose, but the band had to keep playing. They didn't stop.
Sure.
The way they jammed together was unbelievable. That you don't get to see that normally because it's a staged set.
Right.
This was them having to just jam and improvise, and you could just see how good and relaxed and calm. I mean, Eddie's playing, and he's like, "I guess I got to keep going," and you could see the look, and he's smiling. He was annoyed a little bit too, I shouldn't have. I knew I should have brought David back. You could see all those things happen. What a fucking asshole! But it actually showed them in such a great light that I don't think anybody really ever gets to see when a band has to do that. That to me was one of my favorite moments. It showed them as a great band.
No doubt. So just to answer your question, it was a little bit of like him with Valerie at the beginning was a cultural thing, came off the real sitcom thing. So, we all loved her. And then, them being together was cool. And then
And it was like the last thing you would ever expect, because she was so...
Correct.
She was so clean.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then here comes
then
Eddie. It was like Whitney and the other
And
guy.
Bobby Brown.
You
Yeah,
know, it was
exactly.
like, you never expect that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So rest in peace, Eddie Van Halen. It brings us right into the next topic with you guys, specifically two guys that are out there all the time playing live music for a living. And, I just recently kind of supported, Mike supported all of us that play live music.
Yeah. Mike Del Judas.
Mike Del Judas in Huntington.
He deserves a shout
and
out.
so, yeah.
And big props.
What have you been going through, Tom? You were playing 4 or 5 times a week. I don't know if you still are. What are you seeing out there?